Okay, and we should be live. So, again, let me just check the the stream this week. I am pretty fucking high. Let's see. I just stumbled upon this video. Candace Owens brags, "I discriminate all the time when I hire." Okay, so Candace Owens, like this is pretty obvious what this is about. Candace Owens, like classical Republican, like Trump Republican type shit. So not the highest fucking not the highest bar to hit, you know. And Sam Sedgwick, he does this all the time. Like he just fucking loves going after people for anything, just trying to take them out of context. And well, in this video that I haven't watched yet, actually, Candace Owens is bragging about discriminating in like in her job hiring. Well, tell me, like, do you like how do you think we should hire people? If you decide, yeah, this person isn't fit for the job, based on how they act, based on like what I can tell of them, said person has such and such characteristics that, like, based on that, yeah, I don't think they're suited for the job. Well, you're discriminating against them based on these factors. Like, tell me, if you have a job, like, say the job you're offering requires physical labor. Say that, the job involves, walking. Yeah, wait, bye. Yo, yeah. Anyway, like, say that the job that you're offering involves physical labor, like walking all day. Well, somebody comes up to you with a physical handicap. This person was born without legs. It's not their fault. They're just born without legs. Are you going to hire them? Well, I don't know. Are you gonna hire someone without legs to walk all day? If they come up to you, they're like, "Hey, I want this job." Uh, you see the fucking problem. Like, should we be forced to hire these people? Like, yeah, when you select people for your job, you're choosing them, we would guess, based on how well you'd assume they might be able to perform. And if you tell somebody, no, what I based on my first impressions, it doesn't seem like you would be best suited to um yeah to do the fucking job that I'm asking you to do. I feel like I don't know, there are better people than that. You're discriminating. Now, if you are smart, since a business works the way it does, if you are a business maker and you don't want to lose money, you will discriminate based on factors, specifically factors that are relevant to the job. So you will discriminate against people who share characteristics that would prevent them from being able to perform the job as well as they might be. But guess what? If you discriminate based on factors that are just fucking illogical and stupid, such as race or religion, like, you're going to lose money because, especially nowadays, like, the workforce, like, there's so many jobs available. You see all over now hiring. Like, yeah, people need workers more than ever now. So if you're going to be retarded and discriminate in your job choosing, in your employee choosing, based on factors that are irrelevant to job performance, such as race, you're the only one losing out because, right now, every place says hiring. Um, so, yeah, you should discriminate. It makes sense to brag about it because discriminating in who you hire, like, that would make you a good employer. You choose the right people. And yeah, like, of course, discriminating, like, what, like, why would you say it that way? That's sort of like you giving people ammo to go at you. Well, if she's saying that, I'm guessing based on, like, what I know of her. I heard she's a retard, so I don't really watch her content. But, yeah, it would make sense that she would be trying to make a point. Like, yeah, like, like, I haven't ever seen the specifics of, like, situations with this, but it would be more of a left-wing, like, the left wing would tend more to side with, yeah, we should give handicapped people, right, like, we should, force companies not to discriminate against people if, like, if the factors include being handicapped or something like that. When a lot of the time, a handicap might prevent you from being able to, like, perform the job properly. So, yeah, you absolutely should discriminate, in your job hiring. This is retarded. So, let's see this video. I am high out of my fucking mind, and, yeah, Sam Sato, like, I know him. He loves to virtue signal about anything. He will, at any opportunity, call someone a racist. If you can find a way, call somebody a racist. Especially Tucker Carlson. Like, this is basically the caricature of who this guy is. I actually saw a video yesterday. This is very interesting. For the first time, I heard the word libertarian actually, like, enough to think, hey, I should maybe, like, I don't know, I heard the word libertarian in a, and I sort of like what I heard, and I think maybe I should Google that. I don't know, I'm sort of lazy, but for, like, I don't know, I heard the word libertarian as I often do now. I never knew what it was, but from what I'm hearing from it, I like it. It's, apparently you're against theft. I'm against theft. Of course I steal, but I don't consider it moral. Like, if I get arrested, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not going to say, hey, I deserve better. No. No. If I get caught and I get arrested, well, yeah. Like, what did I expect?
Here's part one of Candace Owens talking about discrimination laws in our society.
By the way, do I even have... Okay, my face cam's on. This isn't on. Alright, now we're going. Alright, boys. By the way, live streaming. K0 views, what I'm expecting. Okay. Yeah, we'll add the thumbnail later. Who really cares? Let's maybe add a title. Yeah. No, yeah, it's most... Yeah. Yeah. I don't think this, is relevant to this. I sort of forgot what that was. Okay, yeah.
Here's part one of Candace Owens talking about discrimination laws in our society.
Candace Owens, who has 5 or 6, 7 years ago won a settlement for tens of thousands of dollars for racism in Connecticut.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll just split discrimination into two categories, okay? The discrimination that is good, the discrimination which you should have in your job hirings, which is going to benefit you tremendously, and, well, the polar opposite of that, the discrimination that is retarded, that, well, I personally believe due to property rights, like, you're giving these people the check, you should get to choose whoever you want, period. It's your money, but there is that discrimination that is retarded, and these two categories would be, and yeah, the one that is retarded is also going to blow your business just burn it to the ground, as it should be if it's run by a retard. Maybe it shouldn't prevail. So the discrimination that would be good would be the discrimination that is based on factors that are relevant to the question of, is this person going to be able to perform my job in a way that satisfies me? Is this person going to be good at what they do? And is this the best person I can get for the job? Is this a good business decision to hire this person? Is this going to help me out? Like, that should be a factor. Of course, like, I would add in factors like, I don't know, I would tend to hire more, like, in, like, if I know that, like, around where I'm hiring, there's, like, a bunch of communities of people who really need jobs, like the homeless, like, I might add empathy in there, which, like, that might not necessarily help your business, but it might help people out. Like, you have no obligation to do that, but a moral obligation, well, that's a different story. But yeah, there is, like, that type of discrimination. You could discriminate based on empathy, but that's a different story. But I would say, yeah, discriminating based on how well this person is suited for the job, and that is going to help your business. And there is the separate type of discrimination, which is discrimination based on things that have nothing to do, that are completely irrelevant to the job, which is what you should be considering most when you hire people. Like, yeah, assuming that you want your business to do well. If you discriminate based on, say, racial factors, that's the most, like, talked about one. Well, guess what? Your business is going to go to shit. There might still be racism, in the fact that, yeah, since there used to be racism back when, like, since racism pretty much stopped, like, pretty much, like, fucked over any chances black people's grandparents might have had to, like, start building up wealth. Uh, like, yeah, wealth goes down generations, and the rate at which, like, the rate at which, like, wealth redistributes, within 2 generations, yeah, like, when you consider heritage, when you consider, the fact that poverty sort of comes into a culture that breeds itself down the generations, yeah, the rate at which this redistributes is way slower than the pace at which, especially right now, change happens socially, such as, like, yeah, the movement these days is with being more tolerant. Like, why do you think for so long in human history we've always, like, hated one another based on differences, and within the last, like, what, 200 years, yeah, slavery gone, then, like, trans rights, gay rights, like, where do you think these have ever had place in the past? Like, yeah, society's evolving at a way faster pace than wealth, redistributes throughout the generations, and, well, yeah, it is no longer socially acceptable to be racist. So if you decided to, like, voluntarily limit yourself in the options you have for job hires, if you legit choose to give yourself, like, less people when you need workers, you're going to, like, you're going to, what's it called, shorten down your own list of what you need. You're gonna shorten down your own resources. Like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. But not only are you shooting yourself in the foot, but you're letting everyone know that you're stupid enough to do that, and people tend to also be stupid and not see that as, oh, well, these poor retards, look at themselves. They're literally just so stupid that they consider racism to be, valid in how they operate their business. And they're so sad that, like, yeah, they're racist, and look at them. Their business is gonna go downhill, and we're all gonna make fun of them. No, they actually see it as, oh, you're not just stupid, you're you're horrible for that. And it's like, okay, buddy, who cares? It's like they're stupid anyway. Like, why you even like, dude? They're already in the minority. Okay, you can just laugh at them. Just laugh at them. Don't hate them. You don't need to hate them. You can just laugh at them. That's good enough, right? But yeah, if you're racist nowadays, yeah, that is not socially acceptable at all. And yeah, I would also argue, yeah, morally it's wrong. If you're denying someone a job, like, that person, like, you could have helped them out. They could have actually, they could have been looking for a job and really needed that job. And just because they're black, you turn them down. Like, I mean, yeah, I think that's fucked up. The average person would think that. I think you should have the right to be a bad person if you want to. I don't think you should legally be required to be a good person. Like, if you want to tell a homeless person, hey, you see this $5? Then you just fucking, like, just roll the window up and drive away. You're an asshole. Should you go to jail if you do that? No. So, yeah, I think Candace Owens over here, she's probably just trying to make the point that, yeah, discrimination can, like, you can't just patch all discrimination into, oh, if you're discriminating in your job hiring, like, it has nothing to do with you caring about how your business is going to be able to operate. Oh, you're doing that purely because you have that hatred for them, and it makes you feel just it makes you feel just fucking satisfied or something to know, oh yeah, this person, he might not have a job. He might be out in the streets now. Guess what? Yeah, that's what he gets for being different. That's what he gets for looking like he does or whatever. Like, no, you're just giving people the the least charitable interpretation of their intentions. Like, someone's doing something and you're gonna immediately assume the intentions just because, like, yeah, it would make sense logically. Uh, there are a lot of things that could make sense logically. Like, holy shit.
I almost forgot about that. That's a very important point.
Yeah, as she talks about what she thinks about discrimination here.
That's the context. Here we go.
Okay, let's see the
I
context.
definitely discriminate against men that paint their nails and wear dresses. I don't really care how you feel about that. You can wear your dress and you can paint your nails, but I'd prefer you.
Okay, so against trans people. Now, there is, I don't know who she's hiring. Of course, transphobia, I don't like it. Like, it doesn't surprise me that she would, because, like, who knew? Candace Owens, transphobic. Yeah, I don't need to watch Candace Owens for that not to surprise me, but yeah, if these people's jobs are to, like, talk to customers, for example, I could get why she would be like, oh yeah, this might turn the customers away. Like, she's going to have ways to justify that in her head, and it's like, yeah, I feel like to her, she just assimilates that type of stuff with not being serious. Now, she's wrong for that. She doesn't understand that she's wrong, but I think to her, like, she sort of made up this concept. It's sort of the same thing because both sides do it, just assuming people say, yeah, there's this big movement of, like, a lot of people talking, like, a lot of people saying, yeah, like, on the outside, I look like a guy, but on the inside, I've always felt like a woman. You're just gonna assume that they're full of shit. And then you're gonna assume that all the kids, like, yeah, it's these adults who, for some reason, want to do this to them. When humans are, in general, empathetic people, they don't mean wrong. Like, humans don't love to just mutilate kids just for the love of it, ruin their lives. No, puberty blockers are safe also, by the way. But yeah, like in her worldview, transness is literally this non-serious woke thing where like, oh, all college students, they're just prescribed to this immature type ideology of the left and wokeism. Like, to her, she sort of had, like, it doesn't hit very high, okay? I don't think she thought about it very far. Like, she's not like Tucker Carlson. She's very narrow. I wouldn't be surprised if her worldview is like, oh yeah, these college students, they're just so immature. They're all like just painting their nails, thinking they're part of the next revolution. Like, they're jokes. Like, they're not very serious. Sort of like, they're sort of like the guys who, and thing is, saying what she just said, it's sort of like, I could paint parallels between that and some guy who's a Democrat saying, "Yeah, I'm not gonna hire you if you come to my job interview with a Make America Great Again hat." Now that Trump has not made America great again, if you say that, like, if someone comes to your thing and said, like, with a shirt that says no to vaccines, like, yeah, you disagree with that person's political ideology, and I hate the fact that the political ideology that some people may disagree with is just, like, the fact that, like, they're gay, or they're trans, but yeah, people made that a political thing, and to these people, like Candace Owens, she thinks that, like, being trans is just, like, sort of just being too committed to that fucking lifestyle. Like, she would see, oh, you're painting your nails, you're doing, what are you, vegan too? What else are you? Like, what, like, yeah, to her it's just the stereotype. To her, like, all of these people are the same. They're just committed to this non-serious gay fucking ideology that's just about feelings over facts. So yeah, to her, anything that rings out like social justice warrior, like, she assimilates all of that together. Like, she assimilates like, you painting your nails and stuff to, like, yeah, you just feelings over facts. All that stuff, everything that she associates with the left, she just associates with feeling over facts. These people aren't serious. They aren't gonna understand the business perspective of, like, caring about the company's best interests over your own best interests, because in a company you and again, what do any of these things have to do with one another? Nothing. But in Candace Owens' mind, it does. And that is a part of being smarter than her. Actually trying to assess her worldview before criticizing it, to maybe actually have some, like, valuable criticism, not just completely miss the point and just completely talk past one another. Actually seeing, well, why would she be saying this? Why would she be bragging about this? Well, yeah, transphobia again, like, I don't like having to defend this type of dog shit, but I can understand it. Like, you're from a different generation where, like, oh, gays, all that stuff. It's like, that not really my type of stuff, right? Then, like, you're into that type of generation, or at least, like, your parents are super into it. They sort of, like, ingrained you into that. You're super Christian. So you're already prone to being against trans stuff. Just because, like, yeah, you're sort of behind on the rest of the world. You're sort of in that last generation type shit. It's like, sort of like back in, like, with George Washington, if we brought him here today, uh, everybody would applaud him. Then he would tell me, hey, get us, oh, yeah, you black person over here, hey, could you get me, this thing, and they would be like, wait, why you ask me? And George Washington would be like, well, because you're a slave, aren't you? And all of a sudden, everybody might start hating him a bit more, right? Like, yeah, these people aren't bad people. They just haven't thought about it because, like, all around them, it's always been like, yeah, that's just the way it is. We have animals on our plate every day. We don't think about, wait, this animal, that could have been me. That could have been me. And look, it's on my plate. This is a dead animal. Someone had to die. And we don't have to eat animals. We could just eat plants. That's actually, like, the diet that our species is more suited for. We can get, what's it called? Yeah, we have, like, the size of our intestine. There are so many things that shows that the human species is herbivorous. Or stomach acid, or, like, so many things. Like, Hench Herbivore made a video about that. Like, yeah, we're just ingrained into all that type of shit. And, here, she's just ingrained into thinking, oh yeah, like, any of that type of stuff, it sort of means that they aren't serious. They're, like, filling over facts. So, if you don't understand where she's coming from and why she might think that type of stuff, there's no point in refuting it. Like, you've been doing this stuff for years, just, like, pretty much every day. Look at this right-wing just completely talking past them. You still haven't even analyzed, like, why she might believe that. Try to understand it. Is she just trying to ridicule herself? Like, does she know all that stuff's wrong and she's just saying it for money? Like, why would these people be saying that? Why would so many of these people be saying that? Like, none of these right-wing influences, are so many of them, none of them ever came out like, look, I'm sorry I did what I did. Like, after thinking about it, like, I was a propagandist and I'm better than this and I apologize. No, no one does that because no one who is a right-wing influencer believes that they're yeah, I'm just a propagandist. Like, I'm just bullshitting everyone because, like, yeah, it's just for money, actually. I don't believe in any of these. No, they believe in these principles. They might be misguided or misled, but yeah, they believe in these principles. And to that, you might say, well, Tucker Carlson, for example, well, he's the one who's guiding. He's the influencer. So if you're gonna say, well, he's just misguided or misled, well, someone has to be misguiding or misleading. Yeah, the people who aren't speaking to you, the people who aren't doing that, the people who are behind the scenes actually making up the data that Fox News' team might gather, you might also recognize that CNN, that's always been the way they worked. They'll have a team to gather data, and then the news broadcasters will talk about said data. Yeah, Fox News's data, it's probably gonna be just so fucking biased, just so admitting to so many things, and they showed that to Tucker Carlson, who's already prone to thinking that type of stuff. They give him, like, the rundown of what this is, what this means, and then every Fox News host tends to talk about it, like, and to some degree it's the same talking points. So no, Tucker Carlson is definitely not the propagandist, if you're going to call what he does propaganda, which yeah, there might have been a few things which he said which, like, yeah, this isn't true. This just isn't true. Boston's hospital did not perform transition surgeries on minors. That did not happen. Like, Matt Walsh definitely pushed that. I don't know if he pushed that. Climate change is real. It's objectively real, and he's saying that it isn't. Uh, yeah, things like that, but I wouldn't say he's a propagandist. Same thing with Candace Owens. Like, what is the point of just continuing? You have your fan base. They're all gonna agree with you anyway. Are you gonna debate Candace Owens? Are you gonna ask her to debate? And even if you did, you know she'd probably say no. But at least ask, right? But you're not even doing that. Like, what's the point of this? This is probably not the first, nor the second, nor the third video that you've made criticizing Candace Owens. And have you ever, like, any of these people tried to understand, not from a, like, oh, they're just for selfish reasons. Try to at least, like, humor the idea that, well, they might actually at least be trying to justify it to themselves. How would they try to do that? How would they justify it? Like, take them actually seriously. If you're going to criticize them, well, you're already taking them seriously by doing that, so go all the way.
You keeping 100 feet away from a playground and all of the feet away from my children and me. If I see you, I'm going to cross the street if I'm with my kids. Oh, Candace is not accepting. We need to be more accepting of the people, the men who like to wear panties. I'm good. You can be more accepting of it. You run that risk when you see a guy who looks like a freak and you're...
Exactly, like, that's just right. So you should have the right to be an asshole. Like, oh, don't be an asshole. Well, you don't like me being an asshole? Don't talk to me. Go talk to somebody else. How about you go be a better person? That's clearly a good endeavor. How about you go do that? I'm gonna be a bitch and stay being a bitch by myself in my corner. Good for you. We don't want to see you. Why would you have a problem with that? Like, Sam Satter, why you virtue signaling again? Why do you do this? Why do you keep doing this, dude? I'm curious.
With your children and say, to be accepting, I'm going to put my kids next to him. I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to go, that looks weird, and I'm...
Yeah, because she's sort of a little bitch, sort of, like, yeah, she's a redneck and an asshole, you could say. I don't think she realizes she's being an asshole, but you could still say, yeah, that's still an asshole. Okay. Yeah, you should have the right to be an asshole. I agree. Just like people should have the right to discriminate against assholes like her and say, yeah, I'm also going to keep my distance from her, just like she's keeping her distance from gay people. I don't want to be around that. If Candace Owens shows up to a job interview, let me ask you this. She shows up to a job interview and she says, hey, by the way, yeah, do you have any trans people working here? Just because, like, if you do, I sort of, like, gonna go look somewhere else because I really can't stand the idea of working next to a trans person. Well, if you don't happen to have any trans people in your place, but you're like, oh no, I don't care, I'm not gonna hire you. Yeah, you would be fine with working here. I mean, there aren't any trans people, but you know what, you said that? Yeah, I'm gonna discriminate against you based on that political view, and I'm gonna say, no, actually, I don't want you here. Someone like that, I don't want them. I don't want them in my job environment. I don't want them around my other workers. If at some point I decide to hire someone who's gay, I don't know how she may act around that person, but I don't want that type of influence around my business, buddy. Get out of here. Would you be against that? Do you think that's unreasonable? And if you're gonna say, no, that's not unreasonable, which I don't think it is, you have to flip that and say, imagine someone who's like super like in the way that they appear. You can see woke in them. You can at least expect a conservative to think, oh yikes, this is super blue, they're super Democrat, and to be turned off by that. Like, if they're turned off by that and they're like, oh wow, like all the stereotypes that they associate with, like, the left, and all the stereotypes that they will attach to the left as well, such as, oh, you're tranny, what, you must be a social justice warrior, or that type of lame shit. It's like, wouldn't it make sense logically to extend, oh well, yeah, just like, if someone's blatantly transphobic like her, I should get to say, no, I don't want you in my work environment. That's not the vibes we're looking for. If someone who is just that, but flipped the other way around, super conservative, super close-minded. They see the traits that they associate with wokeness, and they're like, oh, wokeness, it's poison. This stuff is gonna destroy my company. You could get why conservatives would have that reflex. Like, it may be brain dead, but, like, it just makes sense that they would have that. Like, it's the same thing. Like, they immediately turned off. They're like, oh no, this is bad. We don't want that. We don't want that around here. This is, like, yeah, stereotypes like this have literally gone to the point where people are so afraid of that being around them that they think it's gonna replace them. Like, yeah, people tend to be really turned off by things that are different, in that way. Just like people are going to be hateful inherently. If you're transphobic, like, you might have been conditioned to be transphobic by, like, people telling you, oh, the trans movement, don't believe it. It's not, it's actually a hoax. Like, and you might be closed-minded and not even want to think about the fact, hey, that doesn't really make sense. Like, all these people who are coming out, they're all full of shit. Like, the left convinced all of them that they were actually a girl when they're a boy, and it's all in their head. And like, I don't know, so many people, that many people stupid? Like, I mean, to be fair, with Black Lives Matter, CNN was able to push white supremacy back to, like, actually being talked about again. They made it mainstream again when it had just collapsed to basically flat Earth. So, like, it would make sense. Like, you saw how CNN used fear-mongering. They were like, oh, George Floyd happened? Well, what, we could just take, how many scenes of police brutality could we find? Well, I don't know, pretty big country. How many scenes of police brutality? Well, let's just filter out the ones that would push our agenda. Okay, well, now we have a case to start a new race war. I guess, yeah, CNN anchors, let's get to work, let's get to work, boys. So, yeah, they did it with Black Lives Matter. I get the intuitive idea behind why they would think, oh, the left is evil. Look, they're pushing race hate. They're literally pushing racism to try to start a new race war. Like, literally for money. And I'm sure the CNN anchors, they aren't racist. They just receive this information that is, like, literally shit trying to push white supremacy. They don't understand that it's white supremacy. And, I mean, they don't understand that, like, that shit is gonna fuel white supremacy because you're talking about it and it's dead. It's a dead topic. Why would you try to revive a dead topic that is bad, that is objectively just poison? Why would you try to revive that? They didn't think about all that. They were like, oh wow, George Floyd? Yeah, that looks shocking at face value. One person died, well, that's gonna have the impact it's gonna have at face value is gonna be like hundreds of times more than, say, someone who would die of heart disease. How many people a day? Probably over 100 just in the United States, I would guess, die of heart disease every day. I wouldn't be surprised. I forgot the specifics. They've probably changed, not by a lot, but yeah, fear mongering can happen, and yeah, she probably she's probably prone to believing, oh yeah, like they're inherently bad. Like, by being associated with us, they might as well be replacing us, type shit. Like, yeah, humans are inherently hateful, and if they wanna be hateful in who they give money to, it's their money. Like, they're paying the salaries. Like, it's their fucking money. Should they be forced to pay people they don't want to pay? Why would they owe, like, why would they owe money to people they don't want to pay because they don't want their service? Like, that's the thing of capitalism. You should be allowed to be an asshole. Property rights matter more
I'm gonna move away from it.
than, like, your rights to not end up stumbling into someone who's dipshit. It's like, oh, my fifis are hurt. This guy's an asshole, or this girl's an asshole. Fucking get over it. Go apply somewhere else. I can guarantee you, if every single company around tries to, if we decided, yeah, let's bring back segregation today because fucking why not? We're retards. Let's just do clown stuff because at this point the political scene, yeah, it's a theater. Let's just entertain the public. Just keep up what we've been doing. Let's actually allow segregation in businesses again. Well, guess what? If people started doing that, they'd just shoot themselves in the foot. They'd have less labor to work with. They'd just be lowering down their own options. Everyone would see that they're stupid, but everyone would also see that they're hateful and that they aren't tolerant. And that is not a thing that is socially acceptable anymore. And their businesses would crumble to the ground unless they got on board fast enough. And thing is, most people are smart, so I don't think anyone would do that. No one, except for maybe this little bakery in that little shithole town that no one knows about that is like fucking 5 people and a goat living in it. Yeah, maybe that little bakery that's run by an like very old lady that's gonna die of cancer in 2 years. Yeah, maybe that little bakery will stay segregated. No one's gonna go visit it anyway. It's like, yeah, dude, like, what is the point of this video? Does Sam Setup think he's being productive?
Simple.
You're
And by the way,
Not saying I think I am right now, but, like, if I keep making streams, maybe.
speaking of that sort of discrimination, literally any person, no matter how normal they look, if they are at the playground when I take my kids and they're by themselves, I'm like, red flag, get my kid away from that. Why are you at the playground by yourself? There's no scenario where you should just be an adult at a playground by yourself, especially if you're a male. I suddenly have eyes on them and I'm watching them near the other kid.
Well, I definitely disagree with that. I don't know. I don't know. I like to go on the swings, like, maybe to, like, think things through and stuff. I don't know. I sort of tend to go around these types of places, maybe on the swings and stuff. Maybe because I'm autistic, who knows? But yeah, I definitely get what she's saying. Like, yeah, these people gonna be like creeps. Like, yeah, I get what she's saying. And again, like, she's associating like trans people to creeps and that type of stuff. I hate it. It's poison. But like, they aren't doing that intentionally. They don't know. Yeah, this is like, they aren't aware of what they're doing. And I wish they were. Like, it's poison. It is literally framing the trans community as all groomers. Like, people will suffer from this. People are suffering from this. This type of rhetoric, it hurts people. It really hurts people. People will suffer over this. People will keep suffering over this. But then, like, how do we respond to that? How do we end people responding like that? Well, we actually try to, like, reason with them, tell them, okay, like, where are you coming from? Let's not just throw hate back and forth and amplify it like that. We get the race war to continue more and more. We get more and more polarized on both sides, and then more trans people get hurt. We get more shootings like that. We get more shootings to talk about and be outraged over. Is that what we want to keep going towards, or do we want to put our egos to the side and say, you know what, you might be a transphobe, but what if you had a point? What if I had a point that I could carry over to you? You know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about where are you coming from. maybe that way we could dismantle like this type of discrimination by talking to these people instead of trying to just talk past them to get our audiences. Like, everyone in your audience already agrees that this is wrong. But the more you just keep doing this shit, just keep making videos just saying, fuck this person, the more they're going to distance themselves from you too, and the more we're just going to create a poor society. Like, try to put your egos to the side and maybe talk to these people. Maybe try to tell them, like, I get where you're coming from. Like, you sort of associate all these behaviors, but you've got it all wrong. Like, some people, when they're kids, like, you get how, like, you feel a girl in your mind, and you can understand how, like, if you had always, like, you imagine yourself, but as always having lived in some other person's body. Imagine that being the opposite sex. Like, you can feel how that wouldn't really fit you. You would feel uncomfortable with thinking about yourself, like, as the opposite sex. Like, it just doesn't feel right. So you, like, if you can understand the concept of associating to, like, the gender you feel, like, feeling like a woman inside you, like, conservatives tend to really agree with it. Like, men and women are different on a, like, on a brain level. Like, they think differently. Tucker Carlson has said that. I don't know if she has. A lot of these people say, yeah, men and women are fundamentally different in how they think. Like, they have fundamental properties. Yeah, I remember this video, actually. Let me look at that. Because I think Tucker Carlson, I think that is a great perspective. Like, I mean, yeah, he is definitely, one of the most mainstream, conservatives, so I think that's, if he believes something, yeah, we can say that's not a status quo for the Republicans, but that's definitely something. But yeah, in this video, he said, yeah, there are fundamental differences between men and women. Like, yeah, a man and a woman, it's not the same. It's not like people being white versus being black. Like, there are fundamental differences. We might watch that after. Yeah, so isn't it, like, plausible to imagine people can be gay? There's no incentive for that. Why would that happen? Well, that's just how humans are. We have disorders. These exist. Like, well, why would you be attracted to a man if, like, you're not gonna be able to reproduce with them? Like, didn't we sort of evolve to, like, be attracted to each other because, like, that's how we reproduce? Yeah, well, yeah, gay people are at a disadvantage because they can't really do that, but, like, yeah, that's a thing. If they say, yeah, I'm attracted to, like, yeah, we should take them at their word. But thing is, like, gay people, like, if you see them kissing and stuff, it's like, yeah, okay, if they say if they're doing all that, yeah, they say they like it, okay, I would not like it. I think that's, like, if they're doing that, yeah, I'm gonna have to guess that they like it. I don't see myself doing all that for pretend. Yeah, like, so many gay people who are, like, making out and stuff. Yeah, I don't think they're all just doing that as a scheme. Like, that sounds, eh. But trans people, would you literally change your body to the opposite sex? Um, just for a stunt. Just just for just to prove your point. How is this, like, they do have an argument for how that would help the Democratic Party with, yeah, the hospitals, they get so, but the Democratic Party, like, aren't they the ones pushing for, uh healthcare being like for healthcare being not privatized. Like I mean I guess that's not the entire left, but that's a left-wing rhetoric. Like you associate that with wokeness, and these people tend to put all the left in that type of category. Now, if you tell Candace Owens all that, you're like, you try to like compare it to being gay. Like, yeah, these trans people, like, what? There are so many of them. Like, there really are. Uh, how could you think like these adults that are transitioning that like just because they're attracted to kids, uh, like that like you could try to talk to her about it, try to explain stuff, you would probably get a lot further than just saying, "Oh well, look at her, she's just discriminating." And it's like, yeah, we sort of know that you're not saying anything new.
Just feels wrong. It's a healthy discrimination for me. I discriminate against doctors, dentists, trainers. I don't want a dentist with bad teeth. I don't want Lizzo being my trainer. If you want her to be your trainer, have her be your trainer. I am going to discriminate against somebody that is that.
Yeah, and you should have the right to do that. It might not make sense, but like, yeah, there are like first impressions are stupid, but people rely on them. And people should have the right to rely on that. Don't judge a book by its cover. Well, most people do, unfortunately. That's just how most people are. Should they have the right to do that? Well, it's mostly only gonna hurt them, but it's also their lives. Like, live and let live. You don't like that person for doing that? Well, you have every right not to like Candace Owens for doing that. Don't be around her either. Deal with it.
Clinically obese, saying that they're going to get me healthy. I am good.
Yeah, that's a very great point. Yeah, if you want to discriminate against a fat personal trainer, you're like, yeah, that makes no sense. Like, yeah, I'm not getting the vibe with that. Like, the training, you sort of have to have the mentality that comes with it. Like, if your motivation is, like, yeah, if your mindset is, well, I'm sort of hoping to get lean, but I don't really know if I'm going to make it with someone who clearly, and it's like, yeah, in the same way, people will tend to take nutritional advice from anyone who's super lean most of the time. They're super lean because they take steroids, and people will just take them at face value because they have an 8-pack. Vegan Gains talks about that all the time, and usually the nutritional advice that they give is pure garbage. Yeah, people discriminate. That's just a thing.
On that. So all I was to say is, obviously, discrimination is built into us for a reason. It's a survival.
Yeah. I knew she was going to make that point. Guess what? Yeah, she's making that point. So is some setter going to have an argument against that, or is he just going to be like, racist? Okay, buddy.
Survival mechanism, right? We want to survive. And so when we get that feeling, my mother used to refer to it as the heebie-jeebies. When someone just gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, by the way, what is my live stream called? For the sake of, maybe if I do this, I might get 1 view instead of 0. If that's even how you spell her name. Don't care, probably. Who cares? Yeah.
If you can't quite put your finger on why,
bigotry.
I think you need to lean into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But thing is, the examples that she's giving are so horrible. So yeah, some setters definitely not gonna like, humor her statement and say, yeah, it is built towards for a reason. Yeah, we should discriminate, but just not on the factors that you're saying, because these factors are not relevant. You just think they're relevant because you're stupid. But like, no, you may think all you want. Oh yeah, look at these trainings. Like, first impressions I get is, oh well, they're not gonna be serious. They're just gonna be sitting there on their ass talking about how they're gay all day while other people are working, and they're gonna make the business losing profit. Like, she's gonna have that type of like a brain dead take. But guess what? If you allow these people in the workforce, you'd see that, yeah, they're just as productive as anybody else, and you're just losing out on labor. And you're just shooting yourself in the foot and being stupid. And you're just shooting yourself in the foot intentionally because you're stupid. If he said that, that'd be a lot smarter and a lot more productive to say than what he's going to say. And let's see what he's going to say. Let me see if I'm right.
I actually think that society would be safer if we discriminated more. What's happening now is insane.
Okay, yeah, but not in the context that you're putting it in. Okay, maybe if we see that people are violent, like we get first impressions. Yeah, these people seem like they might be violent. Like, I'm at a job interview with them. Like, I don't know, they keep, like, looking at the girls sort of, like, condescendingly and stuff. They're, like, I don't know if these people might end up assaulting one of them. Oh, they're showing up to the job interview. They're literally high. Like, I don't know what to make of that. Maybe they're just stupid. Maybe they're just chill. Maybe they're great employees. I mean, maybe they're great employees. But maybe they don't take their job seriously. I mean, look at them. They're hired at the job interview. It's like, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, her criteria, like the examples she's giving of discriminating against people, yeah, no, they're stupid. If you discriminate against trans people, you're not doing yourselves any favors. And you're not showing anybody a great example, painting a great picture of yourself for the world to see.
Insanity because they're telling us to accept everything and say, oh, it's fine. He just has a.
And yeah, there are examples where that goes to the extremes. Now, this is a bad frame. Like, yeah, this might be fear-mongered, I don't know, but like, yeah, this goes to, yeah, businesses should be forced to make accommodations for workers who would have disabilities, like physical abnormalities that make it so that they can't do the job properly. Well, businesses would have to make up for that, would have to adjust. Like, I don't know what that would include. Like, I don't know if your job would include walking and, like, thing is, with this argument of, well, you can't discriminate, it's not their fault that they're missing an arm. Yeah, should plane drivers be allowed to fly the plane? It's not their fault that they're blind. It's never been their fault. Like, you see what the problem is. Now, you could just, like, laugh that off and be like, well, that's extreme. That's not what she's talking about. No, that's not what she's talking about because she's not that bright. But if you, like, extend it, if you think past that, like, yeah, this does raise a problem because her concerns, she thinks they're legitimate. I think my concerns are legitimate. Like, for I know, I could be, like, speaking from a standpoint of someone who's stupid. I could just not know how stupid I am, just like she doesn't know how stupid she is. And, like, in the concerns, like, oh yeah, I think it's completely unreasonable to allow someone who's blind to fly a plane. Well, she might be just as convinced of the idea, oh well, it's ridiculous to hire a trans person to work around kids. That's like hiring a pedophile. Like, she's probably convinced of that, like, brain dead cancer. So, yeah, like, when it comes down to it, as an individual, should you have the right to, like, think for yourself as to what makes a valid criterion to discriminate against people for, and get to say, yeah, no, these people, I don't believe that this would be a good idea to hire them. Whether she brings stupid reasons like that, she's bringing on a good point. Like, yeah, you should be able to discriminate because, yeah, why do you think it's built into us? Because there are good reasons to discriminate. And I hate how she's saying that. Like, she's obviously trying to make a pro-capitalist position. You should be able to discriminate against who you want because you're the one paying for the service. but she's just giving bad reasons. Like, what she should say would be, well, look, these are the extreme examples, but, like, when you're going at me on the front of, yeah, well, it's not their fault, therefore you should make accommodations. You should point out the extreme examples that no one would disagree with and say, yeah, of course I'm pointing this out because, yeah, it's an extreme example. You're, like, of course this isn't the average, this doesn't, represent the, like, in general what this problem is, but we have to take it into account because where do we stop? And use that as a basis to explain why, no, like, we should be pro-capitalism and not pro just telling people how they manage their own property. Because, yeah, your property doesn't belong to anyone else but you, including your wealth and how you spend your money. Yeah, she's trying to make a good case, but then she's just bringing on completely brain-dead examples of how she would discriminate. So yeah, she's giving people the perfect ammo to go at her. Because yeah, if you're gonna make a pro-capitalist position, and the premises you'll have it on is, yeah, well, if we didn't have this, I couldn't say trannies can't work here. And it's like, you just sound retarded because, like, sure, maybe you would have a point if you said, yeah, we should be able to discriminate based on that, even if it's stupid. But the fact that, like, that is is that the freedom you're trying to protect? Is that how you want to paint the freedom that you're trying to protect? Because you're not really gonna convince people, and it's same thing on both sides, just talking past one another. It's so stupid.
She likes to wear panties.
So that's part one there, and that's just like a general kind of diatribe about how bigoted and afraid Candace Owens is of other people.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, she's bigoted. Like, I'm sure none of us knew
Just
that.
paranoia casting. This, you see this on TikTok a lot,
Yeah,
where you'll
she's
have
very
these people.
paranoid of trans people. I hate that because trans people, they didn't ask for any of this. Like, they're just cursed with, like, that fucking shit. It's probably gonna be, like, just as much, if not a bigger burden than fucking, like, college debt would be to actually have surgeries. They're gonna be, like, just refused, like, just rejected left and right by people. They're gonna have hell. And, like, these people really don't, like, they really have good intentions, but they're doing so much harm. I hate it. And I hate that good people like Tucker Carlson are associated with that. It's like, Tucker's really better than this. I wish he wasn't. I wish he spoke out against transphobia instead of doing what he does. But hey, like, that's what he believes in. Like, First Amendment.
People who are obvious paranoiacs saying, this plastic bag that blew under my car, that's actually a sign of sex traffickers coming to kidnap me. Like, that's what she's playing to right now.
Yeah, but thing is, like, she's actually saying it because she believes it. So, like, how are you gonna speak to someone like that? How do you get through to someone like that? Thing is, this isn't even the question of this video right here, which should be the only question, because how do we get through to someone who's going to influence all these other people into believing the same stuff? Because at the end of the day, those people are going to have the same mindset that prompts them to believing that. Well, how do we undo that type of stuff? Because people's lives are at stake. There has been a shooting at an LGBTQ place. Like, as the Humanist Report says, this will keep happening. Like, yeah, how do we get through to these people? This should be the number one question right now, the number one priority. Like, these people are wrong. They're demonstrably wrong. And they aren't convinced. Like, we need to find something new. We need to look at some new ways to try to convince these people. How do we approach someone like that? How do we approach them? How do we try to get them to buy into this you know what? These people, they aren't lying to us. Like, they aren't trying to groom your kids. They just want to be left alone. They just want to be in society just like you. They're paying taxes. They want to get the same benefits, live in the same society that you live in. They just want to be the gender they associate with. And, like, that might sound like a what the fuck to you, but, like, this could be you. This could be you. You could be in their shoes. And, like, how do we try to get them to empathize with these people? Because that's the question of the century. Are people going to keep getting shot? Is this going to keep getting more and more divided? Is this fucking flame war going to continue of absolute cancer of people just, like, completely rejecting trans people just because of how they're born, and the other side just being enraged over it and yelling woo woo woo? Like, is this where we want to go, or do we want to put our egos to the side and say, you know what, how do we talk to these people? Because if you find out how to talk to these people, how to maybe try to appeal to them, even how to try to get through to them in any way possible, you get through to Candace Owens, you get through to her fans, okay? You get through to someone like Candace Owens, the people who are gonna be watching her community are gonna be people like her. You learn how to get through to that type of person, you can learn how to get through to people like her, and that should be the only question here. Not, oh, is this person an asshole? Yeah, people realize that. That's all you've been talking about. You've already spread that message. Okay, go on. Like, continue. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? People already know trans rights are human rights. Your audience is on board with you. Now try to get something out of it. Try to make something productive. You're not spreading any more awareness. You're just spreading, like, divide and hate. Like, people should try to understand one another. You might be hateful, that might be repulsive, that you hate trans people, but I want what's best for trans people. So, you know what? I'll grow a pair of balls and come talk to you. Come give you the benefit of the doubt. Come talk to you face to face. I'll platform you. I'll try to understand where you're coming from. Please, try to explain to me. So that we can try to find some common ground, because this is necessary at this point. Like, if we don't find some common ground, try to talk things through. People, when it comes down to it, they might disagree on a lot of things, but fundamentally, we have the same basis. Like, oh yeah, the golden rule. Who's gonna disagree with the golden rule, right? Like, we have the same fundamental basis. We just disagree with the logical applications of said moral things. But yeah, like, I remember I saw Cornel West, I think, like a socialist, try to, like, he went on Tucker Carlson to try to explain socialism, and Tucker Carlson said, well, to be fair, I'm basically on board with that. Yeah, like, no matter how totally different your set of beliefs end up leading you to, like, no matter how different the conclusions tends to go from the fundamental set of beliefs, you have these fundamental set of beliefs that lead you to your conclusions. They aren't that different in everybody, to be honest. And people should try to take advantage of that. Like, okay, we have this problem, transphobia gets a problem. Okay, go on. What do we do about it? Are we just gonna keep screaming? Like, where's that gonna bring us? The Majority Report. What are you doing? What do you think your influence has been on the trans movement? How many Republicans have you, like, how much of a meaningful impact do you think this will have? Like, are you going to try to give these people the benefit of the doubt? Like, yeah, this will just stop making videos on this. Like, your viewers get it. Your viewers get it, yeah, transphobia bad, Candace Owens bad. Okay.
No law
Like,
against
why?
her
Why are you still talking about
for being a
this?
terrible person who's going to discriminate against people who she decides to be a patron of,
Yeah,
a customer
Across
of.
the street, that's actually a sign of sex traffickers coming to kidnap me. Like, that's what she's playing to right now.
And there's no law against her being a terrible person who's going to discriminate against people.
Okay, so there aren't laws that stop you from, like, discriminating in your job hire? Well, yeah, there are laws. In fact, you can't discriminate against black people. You can't be an asshole in that regards. Now, to be fair, I mean, of course, I think you should be allowed to, but, like, this is the last thing I would complain about, okay? Like, if there's a law saying that you can't Heil Hitler, I mean, that's obviously against free speech. That is, but like, like that is one of the, like, least how it's like, okay, at least, well, you're saying you can't hide a horrible ideology. You're not banning some, like, communism, which, like, okay, it might be horrible, but like it's not just completely retarded. Like, you might actually have some decency in it to give, like, oh yeah, you think that we should be more social, okay. Like, yeah, if you ban some, like, communism, that is very authoritarian. But then if you're gonna ban some, like, Heiling Hitler, it's like, yeah, that's still wrong, but it's like, okay, whatever. Like, sorta same thing with that. You're gonna ban racial discrimination. It's like the lowest bar. Like, yeah, okay, we're gonna have to live without racial discrimination. Big fucking deal. Like, yeah, that's probably the best things that there could be forced onto people, even though they shouldn't be forced to do that. So, yeah, but you do in fact have to not discriminate in certain respects. She is making a fair point.
People who she decides to be a patron of,
Yeah,
a customer
Cross
of.
the street, you idiot. Who
Yeah,
cares?
or be around. Like,
Yeah, and please do cross the street, Candace Owens. If you see trans people, please don't show your face to them. They already have to deal with enough, probably. Like, they're the most marginalized group I can think of at the moment. Yeah, just don't give them any more trouble. Just cross the street and let them go on by their lives. Because at the end of the day, like, you might think you're right. Like, sure, maybe you don't realize what you're saying is garbage, but these people, they really do want to be left alone. That's really all they want from you. Nothing. They just want you to leave them alone. That's really all they want. And yeah, Candace Owens, just for emphasis, if you see a trans person, yeah, I would encourage you to
you
cross
can
the
be an
street.
asshole. You can avoid trans people. You can avoid people who are.
In your workforce, can you say, I'm not hiring you because you're trans? I don't know the specifics, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was illegal. That's probably her point.
Cross-dressing. You can stigmatize them. There's nothing against the law about that. However, this is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that is her point. And what do you call saying, oh, I'm not gonna hire you because you're trans? It's called being an asshole.
Discriminate.
So yeah, what she's saying is, yeah, she doesn't know what. Yeah, she should be allowed to do that. She should be allowed to be an asshole. If she wants to make her own business crumble and prove the other side's talking points for them, hey, look, I'm for discriminating against trans people. Well, look, now, well, trans people don't make up a big part of the population. Well, you want to encourage that trend? Let's have some other people jump in on that and say, yeah, I'm gonna actually not allow black people in here too. Like, you know what? Why not allow that? Just for the sake of making a point. Just like Ron DeSantis with him sending immigrants to Martha's Vineyard to, like, try to tell them, hey, you want to talk to us about, lecture us about our morals because we're not taking the world's misery on our shoulders because we're cowards and we'd rather let them, like, suffer in their own shithole. And yeah, he did that as a, like to make a point, and the people in the north who claimed to be, who were all virtue signaling, yeah, they completely changed their pace. They did not thank DeSantis for sending him immigrants. They were just like, oh no, actually no, we can't handle that, and they were absolute hypocrites. And DeSantis made a point by doing that. Like, in the same way, honestly, if we if we allowed for segregation, like, honestly, I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if we allowed for segregation again, I think that it honestly just give the left its talking point. Because, yeah, it would prove anyone who still would segregate, they would get cancelled, and it would prove also the right's talking point that, yeah, racism still nowadays, okay, let's see how well racism fares in our society today, okay? Let's allow it. Let's allow it into businesses. Let's see how many of them stand, pal. Let's see, oh, okay, you're McDonald's, you don't want to hire people because they're black? Okay, bitch, that's gonna be all over the front headlines. You sure you want to do this? Okay, McDonald's not hiring black people. No one's gonna go buy from McDonald's. They're gonna lose so much business, and they're gonna get out of business, just like they should if they choose to do that. You wanna go for that? Okay, let's see ya. Let's have these people. Oh, you don't want to hire this marginalized group? Well, let's see how that goes for you, buddy. Oh, well, you're gonna go out of business. So was that so smart, huh? Was that so smart? No, I guess it wasn't smart. So who else wants to do that? You still think it works? Yeah, if we just allowed for people to be an asshole in this regards, they might actually end up seeing how stupid they look and teach the entire world a lesson about being stupid.
States.
Dude, I'm still so fucking high right now. Like, I'm just going on a tangent. And I don't shut the fuck up. And I fucking like it, dude. Honestly, I'm fucking all for that.
You know, the left
shit.
does this thing where they take words and they just make them sound bad or they make them sound good. They're very good at linguistics, right?
They do that a lot. And the right sort of dance.
So
too,
a
to be
bad
honest.
thing that
But Sam Satter, oh, Sam Satter. Now you're talking about the caricature of doing that.
make sound good is like abortion. They call it Planned Parenthood. You go, oh, that's
not.
lovely. No, but
Yeah, abortion. It's like I sort of get this entire. I sort of get the idea, but to me, conception, it's like I don't get it because it's like, oh, it's potential, but like to me, it's like you always had the potential to be like that. Didn't start at conception. Before conception, you had the potential to be conceited, didn't you? And that's what ended up happening if you were conceited. So, like, yeah, that's actually what I'd say. I don't see the fundamental thing. It's conception. I would see it at consciousness, which actually, like, to me, gives human beings value. And yeah, how much others may care about you, how, like, if others see you as a human being, even if you are not self-aware, even if you were a robot, but other people sort of see you as a person and they killed that robot, I guess, like, that robot had value, people saw it, but like, to me, like, these women, like, yeah, my body, my choice, that's what it comes down to, but yeah, I from a potential standpoint, I don't think conception is significant at all, actually. I think, yeah, like, you could think of the potential to be conceited in the same way, and it's like, yeah, no one knows who you're going to be because all of that's in the future. Like, potential means future, so you're not already that person. Like, any option, like, the options are limitless, but that was already the case before you were conceited. Like, it could have been you, it could have been somebody else. You could have, like, another kid could have been born. Well, in the same way, well, what is the potential? Well, you could end up being a child, you, like, once you actually exist. once you're no longer just a pack of cells. Once you're actually a person, well, you could be any person, or you could just not ever become a person because you might be aborted. So, so yes, just in the future, your life might matter, but in the present, your life isn't a thing yet. So you have the potential for your life to end up mattering once these things unfold, but until they unfold, they're in a superposition. And yeah, if you kill said child before it even exists, that's like choosing not to have sex. At least in my point of view. But yeah, I get pro-lifers because I get how, like, that is a feeling over that thing, I guess. But I understand that feeling, and it's like I wished with Roe v. Wade, it's like people used to have actual like not talking past and other conversations about this, and people used to be able to agree to disagree on that. I remember abortion being like that type of topic before Roe v. Wade, but yeah, now people are just talking past one. Like, yeah, Roe v. Wade, I think its overturning was definitely just horrible. Now I think it's like I don't think it's really that significant in the way that, like, it only matters for people who are going to be raped. Now if you're going to, and like, yeah, actually I think that's also a good point. Like, people who are so stupid that they are going to partake in the activities that involve making a child when they specifically do not want to get a child. Like, people who are stupid enough to actively um to choose to perform the acts by which a child is formed, when that is specifically what they want to avoid doing, and then just being surprised when there's a baby. Oh, I didn't want that. Like, does someone like that, who's clearly mentally retarded, sound like somebody who you would want to, as your parent? Let's put yourself in their shoes. Would you want to have to live a life where, like, yeah, your parents are that retarded? They're little kids who, like, forgot that having sex gives you kids. Oh, well, what do you know? I just woke up. Well, where did that come from? That little baby. Oh, fuck. I forgot. Like, do you want that type of person to be allowed to have kids? They shouldn't even be allowed to have kids. Um, like, yeah, I think they should be forced to abort, actually. But, like, yeah, you think they... Like, no, I think that's actually inhumane towards a child. Like, you have to consider in terms of potential. Like, once you made the decision, it's over. It's no longer potential. That person will be alive. So... Yeah, by the way, that isn't me being a hypocrite in terms of potential. Oh, well, I'm giving this life value, even though... No, 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 no. Like, once you've made the choice, I'm not going to abort, you know that this kid will have value, and that is the future, okay? Like, until you have made your decision, I will or won't abort, like, yeah, you can always decide to abort. Well, there is no future person who might have value. Like, there is no valuable person to take into consideration because that valuable person will never exist. I'm gonna terminate that existence before it even starts. I would say that's just like not having sex. Like, yeah, I would say that's similar, but, the fuck was I saying? Nah. Like, yeah, once you have made the choice, I'm gonna have this kid, you have to realize that, yeah, this creates a scenario where this kid who is going to have value, they are not going to have a life where they're equal. Do you think that a parent who's that stupid is gonna be able to offer their child a happy life? Do you think that child is going to have, the opportunities offered to them that you might have been offered by your parents. No. So if we want to eliminate such incidences, if we want to eliminate people having to just live in a world where people didn't want them, if we want to eliminate that type of thing, why wouldn't we abort? I mean, yeah, now it makes sense because these people, they see that life as the potential. Like, they don't see that in the future. They see it as, well, this is inevitable. This is going to happen. So,
Actually, they're killing
yeah,
a bunch of
I get both sides. So that's like, I've never debated someone who's pro-life. Like, that's really one. Like, I get their point. It really is a touchy topic, to be honest.
I'm sorry.
Like, the most touchy topic. Like, people genuinely think this is a Holocaust that is happening. Just like some people would rightfully think that animals being holocausted, yeah, that's something we need to do something about. People think that of Roe v. Wade. They thought this was people holocausting babies. Like, I can't blame anybody for thinking that and being outraged by it. Even if I believe that they're wrong, like, they're told, yeah, these babies, like, they think, what if this had happened to me? Like, but you weren't the person that you are back then. Like, it's not like, what if my parents had swallowed? That's the same thing as what if my parents had aborted? Like, people just don't tend to think about it in that framing. But yeah, I can understand them. If you think that human beings are being genocided, you have every right to speak out about this. Like, I will not look down upon you for being pro-life. I think looking down upon you for being pro-life, it's wrong. You should have the right to do it, but it's wrong. So yeah.
Parenthood provides a bunch of services that are not.
But yeah, I'm definitely pro-choice. Even though I think, well, the choice is sort of the choice of having sex. Like, are you choosing to have kids? But yeah, I mean, there is rape already, and like, why not? Like, clearly, since there are enough retards in our society that we need to have this choice being given to us a second time. Hey, are you sure you want to have this baby that you already chose to sort of have? Yeah, if people are so stupid that they need a confirmation, are you sure you want this baby? Yes, no? Oh, no, actually, I don't want it. Yeah, why not? Why not have that? So, yeah, I think, like, you sort of already made the choice unless you were raped, but yeah, I'm still pro second choice. I'm still pro confirmation choice, I guess you might call. Like, yeah, I'm pro choice.
Abortion, and it's the name of the.
You should have the choice always, as long as a baby isn't born. It's like, do you remember anything from back when you were a baby? Is that the person you are now? Like, does that have anything to do with the person you are now? You don't even have memories from back then. You don't even know who that person was. That person wasn't even really anything. For all that you're, what's it called? For all that you're concerned, because the person you are is everything you remember, right? So, like, yeah, you don't remember anything from when you were a baby. Who cares?
The organization. I just want to clarify that for people.
But also, it's parental planning. Like, are we going to have this child now, or are we going to use contraception to have it later?
It's like it's like them saying, like, the left.
Yeah, but it'd be a different child. Like, that's what they're saying. Like, oh well, we're gonna kill this child. Yeah.
You know, they take something like cheese.
Yeah, like, these people are probably gonna read The Giver, which I was instructed to read and didn't read. And they're probably gonna read, like, this fucking little bit that I was forced to see in class where, like, apparently, like, these cunts were, like, killing the twin child whatever, and it was just stupid. And it's like, why did you do that, you dipshit? They're probably thinking, oh, well, The Giver, that's like, whatever the fuck that book's about. I heard that it's sort of like a fucking authoritarian type. Yeah, I was forced to read a lot of these books back then. Some of them were actually good. But yeah, like they probably think of it in the same way.
Burgers, and they call it McDonald's.
And I try to empathize.
It's like, that's not whatever. Okay,
Wait,
keep
what
going.
did she say?
It's like it's like them saying like the left, you know, they take something like cheeseburgers and they call it McDonald's. It's like that's not.
Yeah, you should call it actually animals that are murdered
Whatever.
and who could
Okay, keep going.
Infants in the womb, so that's actually not a good thing. And then they always have these terms. You go, what do they mean? Cisgender, heteronormative.
Yeah, I get being like, oh yeah, that shit sounds like cancer. And when people start being like, yeah, when people start being more than two genders, I'm not sure if that's fear-mongering, but I heard it so much. Like, no, this couldn't just all be made. Yeah, I completely get when people start trying to tell you what you're gonna call them and demanding that you call them that. It's like, yeah, like, no, if you're gonna ask for third pronouns and shit, but then, like, I feel like that might have been fear-mongering from the right. I mean, I wasn't really in any left-type circle back then. Like, I didn't look at left-type YouTubers, so, like, I heard, oh, yeah, like, it's done with, like, the third genders. I saw, what's it called? Let me try to find this. Dude. I swear, this was... Like, I will definitely find this. Okay. Okay, well... Okay, like that. Let me see. Like, there was a video he made, like, I watched that, wait, let me see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this channel probably has... Let me see. One of them probably has some of that stuff. Okay, definitely not this fucking channel. Maybe this one? Probably not. Definitely not. Yeah, like... Oh, actually, probably this channel's gonna have Let me see, does he have the videos on gender-neutral pronouns? Yeah, either way, like, that was a great video, and at that point, I started thinking, like, wow, yeah, like, that shit, where they're trying to enforce their values onto us, like, yeah, if people don't want to refer to you, especially if you start going into third gender category, it's perfectly sane for people to say, no, like, in my worldview, I see genders on a binary. If you don't, that's good for you, but I'm not gonna adhere to that because I don't intuitively understand it. So, to me, that sounds insane. Like, if that hurts your fifis, like, I'm sorry. Like, me personally, I'd be down to talk about that. Like, with anyone who is, who identifies a third gender. Like, I'd be down to talk about it. What do you mean? Because yeah, like of course you tend to think on the negative side for stuff like that. And when I first thought of the third gender pronouns, I really thought like this must actually be like a movement. I sort of thought the same type of shit that you see Candace Owens like saying about the transgender movement. I actually thought, well, yeah, people trying to make this third gender thing, that makes no sense. And they're actually probably right-wing trolls just trying to make a point, just like trying to give the right talking points and just trolling the left, trolling the transgender community, trying to call them delusional by just taking the stuff to the next level and associating with them to try to get Matt Walsh to be able to make a book like what is a walrus. So to me, I always saw this third gender thing is sort of like people trying to make fun of the transgender movement and parody it. And these people trying to associate with the transgender movement to sort of just undermine it and destroy it. So I always thought these people sound like transphobes. They sound like people who just like are trying to make a talking point, and they're probably just trying to troll the transgender movement and give people like Matt Walsh the talking points that they really want to have. But then I thought about it, and it's like, but why would these people do that? Why would they make themselves look really weird and have to go by their daily lives that way? So it's again like you tend to go towards these types of things, and when you question yourself, when you're like, wait, that doesn't sound right. So yeah, again, but yeah, when people start talking about gender pronouns and stuff, I can get why that could be a trigger for some conservatives. Like, okay, yeah, no, get the fuck out of my face, dude.
which basically means that you're not problematic enough, and they kind of
You're
try
not
to smear
problematic
you or
enough.
libel you.
Wait, what is she talking about here? I missed
Is
that.
gender heteronormative, which basically means that you're not problematic enough, and they kind of try to smear you or libel you on the basis that there's nothing wrong with you enough. And so you're too perfect, you're too normal, so I'm gonna call you cisgender.
What? You're too perfect. I mean, to be fair, yeah, being gay is a mental disorder. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be gay. Now I will acknowledge, like, yeah, gender dysphoria, homosexuality, like, these are disorders. They exist now. There's a treatment to gender dysphoria. It's called changing your gender. There's no treatment to being gay. Gay therapy doesn't work, but yeah, I will acknowledge being gay definitely does put you at a disadvantage. Like, I would hate to be gay. The overwhelming majority of the population isn't gay, so if you're gay, there's a good chance, like, no matter how attractive you may be, the average person you may fall in love with would never be able to find you attractive back. So, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, being gay, that's not something you should want on anyone. Like, that's definitely not a good thing to be gay. It definitely doesn't help you. Between the fact that, yeah, there was so, like, societal discrimination to some extent. Like, it's not as dead as racism, to be fair. There are still, at least in the South, like, some people who will be discriminatory against you, I'm sure. But yeah,
Hey,
like,
pause
I
it
forgot what I
again.
was
Okay.
talking. Yeah, that was pretty yikes. I mean, you're too perfect, so we're gonna call you. Like, she's just going on a tangent, saying some bullshit at this
A
point.
clinical
Jesus.
term, a scientific term.
For being too perfect.
Cis woman, cis man.
Does that mean you're too perfect?
Yeah, doesn't cis sort of vulgar? Like, tranny, you're cis.
Well,
like
in
know.
my case,
the implication
yes.
there?
But I mean,
Yeah, I guess, like, you could say perfect as in, like, yeah, it is better if you, like, if your, sexuality, I mean, if your gender already aligns with your sex, that is more perfect than if it doesn't. And, like, yeah, if your sexuality aligns with like the majority of people's sexuality, that does put you at an advantage compared to a disadvantage. Especially in a world where discrimination is a real thing. And so yeah, I guess it is an imperfection. You won't be able to have kids, at least not your own kids. Now, I think honestly that's better. People need to be adopted. Like, yeah, someone who needs to be adopted, they care if you adopt them. The baby that doesn't exist yet doesn't care if you abort it. Doesn't care if you don't have sex. It doesn't exist yet.
No, it's
So-
not a.
Yeah, I get what she's saying, but damn, like, yeah, people are really, especially some Saru, yeah, they're gonna see that in a bad light, and I don't blame them. Like, yeah, if you're gonna say, especially when trans people are really, like, look down upon these, it's like, yeah, when you're gonna say, oh, yes, cis people, we talk about them like yeah, they're the perfect people. Yeah, I get why people would take offense to that, honestly. Holy shit.
Smear. It's just an
Description.
identifier.
Yeah.
It's like saying I'm a brunette. Or that Bradley has a mustache. I don't know.
It's like physical like a physical characteristic.
It's an identity characteristic. Yeah.
signifier.
Again, these people say like you're erasing the distinction between men and women. If you're like, well,
The hell are you
there's
doing?
like
Yeah.
cis men and trans men. Like, is that okay with you? It's like, what? You're trying to confuse me.
No, in fact, you're trying to stigmatize
Yeah, yeah. You're trying to confuse me. You're trying to make my brain melt.
me. It says a lot about your psychology.
fucking-
All right, I'm sorry for keeping pausing it, but she is just
I mean, to be fair, I am pausing it more than y'all.
holy shit.
Like, are we even gonna be able to get through this video? Dude, I need to, like, work on that. Like, speaking less, giving less of a fucking dialogue. I just have so many things on my fucking mind, you know?
She's lost her
Lot to
mind, and
unpack
she's been terrible for a long time, but she's on a tear these days.
Kind of try to smear you or libel you
Yeah, it was
on the basis that
funny,
there's
to
nothing
be
wrong with
honest.
you enough. And so there's just, you're too perfect. You're too normal. So I'm going to call you
Jesus
cisgender or whatever. And I've started thinking about
Where does cis and perfect come together? Is cis like a Latin root that means good, or that means outstanding or something? Like, what are you getting that from? Cis? Like, the sisters for church? Like, what?
this weekend in terms of the
Can we
word
not have-
discrimination.
No.
It's become a dirty word. You're not allowed to discriminate. Oh my God, that's discrimination. You shouldn't do that. You should not discriminate. And
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, people do, like, that is the whole thing with cancel culture, just brain dead, let's just all go with something instead of, like, actually applying critical thinking, let's just apply mob mentality. Like, that is the decent, like, argument against cancel culture, like, mob mentality isn't actually smart, but, yeah, there are a lot of words, such as nationalist. Tucker's a nationalist. Oh, well, he's a nationalist? That must mean he's a racist! Oh, well, what are you for this? Oh, well, you're fucking fascist. Just like if you're for socialism, communist. It's like, yeah, to be fair, words do tend to be taken out of context by the mob mentality.
actually, quite frankly, I think we need to discriminate. I discriminate all the time, every single day. And this morning, I just jotted down a few examples.
Yeah. And the way you do, you're sort of a bitch. Thank you for, like, reminding us of that. Yeah, if you offer me a job, I might not take it. Like, glad you let me, know that. Now I get to know if you offer me a job, now I know maybe I should think twice. Thank you for letting me know that. That's what Samsaro should be saying. Yeah, thanks for letting people know that maybe they shouldn't consider working for you. Like, thank you for making their job a bit easier. Maybe they won't have to deal with just the bullshit you'll make them deal with, and then end up resigning and having gone through that whole dog shit. Yeah, they could just skip one step. Thank you.
Of when I discriminate. And I'm going to share them with you so that you can feel comfortable sharing your list with your friends. Ready? I discriminate when I hire. I think that's probably illegal, but who doesn't discriminate when they hire?
Pause it. Just to like get into.
You should discriminate when you hire if you want your company to be successful. People who you can definitely spot have features that aren't gonna be beneficial for your company. If you can tell, yeah, these people, they aren't gonna help my company. I can tell by such and such. Yeah, these people, they don't seem to have a lot of like regards for like the subject behind this company. They don't seem to have a passion and this type of stuff. They're just, oh well, they're just all about football and stuff. Like if someone comes to a job interview and all they talk about is football when you ask them what are your interests, and you're like, oh well, this person doesn't seem very cultivated. Like discrimination against uncultivated people, you could very easily just use 2 steps to bring that to black people, okay? Lack of cultivation, poverty, racism. Okay, so should you not have the right to discriminate against people because, well, they just seem like dull characters who don't have a lot to bring to the table? I would say no, you should be allowed to, and for bad reasons as well. You should have the right to, because again, it is your money.
The language a little bit here, like if you discriminate, say like I'm looking for certain credentials here, and certain like degrees or whatever, that is technically discrimination along lines.
Yeah, exactly. If you're looking for a certain degree, yeah,
that is
like some college
not legally discouraged.
Yes, it is. It is fine under the law.
But if you say,
yeah, well, thing is, what's the difference? Like, it's all from moral perspective. Like, when it comes down to it, these types of discriminations, like against black people, I guess you could say against trans people, because like, oh yeah, like I live in the South, like if they see like my cashier looks like a weird freak, like people might get the wrong ideas and my store might be cancelled. I guess you could say that. Like, I would say no, like try to show the example, try to say, hey, we support trans rights. Even if you're standing alone, you should still stand, but you shouldn't be legally required to. But yeah, does this type of discrimination benefit my business? It is filtering out this type of characteristic going to play out in favor of my company? That should be the only question that is asked. And yeah, if people have different standards for what that means, yeah, if these factors are discriminatory, who cares? It's your business, your rights. If I don't like the color of my walls and I want to change the color of my walls in my room, I should get to do that. Like, if you want to change like, what your workers look like, you're a retard, but again, who's paying them?
Say, oh, this person is gay, for instance, or black, that is illegal and bad. So, like,
yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Should you be allowed to be a bad person? Think about it. It is your money. Why should you be allowed to say, and I'm pretty sure y'all would agree, if you're racist and you say, well, I don't want a black person in my house, that is wrong. Should you be allowed to say that? Should you be allowed to say, no, I don't want black people in my house? Well, why not your business? And nowadays, it's not even like this would create a monopoly against black people, because racism is dead. Like, white supremacist platforms like CNN might be trying to revive it. They're not gonna succeed, because it is too dead. Like, it's not gonna work. Like, CNN, one of the most, like, mainstream media outlets, has literally tried to respark white supremacy. They failed.
like 2 different things.
So yeah, if you go back to trying to discriminate in your businesses, yeah, try to see how that works for you. Like, just try to think about it, dude.
I'm going to share them with you so that you can feel comfortable sharing your list with your friends.
Or
Ready?
with the cops.
I discriminate when I hire. I think that's probably illegal, but who doesn't discriminate when they hire? That wouldn't even make sense, especially if I'm hiring for childcare. A woman walks through my door and she makes me uncomfortable for any reason at all. It could be any reason.
No, it
I'm not
can't.
going to hire her. Why would I allow this person who makes me uncomfortable watch my children?
Yeah, that's very fair. That is the fairest thing. And like, if you argue against that, you're so blatantly against human rights. Like, yeah, if you are against that, that is explicitly fascist. Like, yeah, you should be forced to have, like, you shouldn't get to say who watches over you. Yeah, that is fascist. So, Sansaru, are you gonna take the fascist position and say she's wrong about that? I mean, you're all about calling people fascist. This is fascist. This is a fascist position. If you don't want someone to get to choose who watches over their own children, say, if you don't want people to get to make these very personal decisions about their own lives, yeah, that is fascist. So what do you have to say to
Okay,
that?
well, put it in writing that you did it because she was Latina or something.
Or
right?
trans.
You're right.
And,
yeah.
Oh, so you're not even gonna address it, probably. You're just gonna mock
I mean,
it.
which was the preface to, like, you can infer.
And yeah, trans people aren't groomers. The point is she feels uncomfortable. If she doesn't want her kids around someone she feels uncomfortable with, the justification shouldn't matter. She might be an asshole for it, but it's still her right. Like, that's the point. She feels uncomfortable. You can't tell her, no, like, this is the person you're gonna have, because that's it. No. She has rights too, including the rights to be an asshole.
What she's saying. I mean, all right, keep going because I want.
I mean, you're right. To if you're going to the store, you have $10. You could give half of that money to a homeless person. At least split it in half. There's a homeless person, like you're just walking to the store. There's a homeless person there. They might not have eaten for 2 days. You're going to get yourself some food. How about you at least give them half the money? If you don't do that, well, should you have the right not to do that? Sort of an asshole thing, don't you think? Well, a lot of people are going to choose, well, yeah, I'm actually going to keep all the money. This guy who might not have eaten for 2 days, yeah, he could starve. I'm going to buy myself $10 worth of food, and I'm going to go back home. And who knows, if I see him back on my way, I might give him, like, I might give him $1. Who knows? That's wrong. You should, but then should you be allowed to? Yeah.
I want to hear how explicit she gets about this. She's
pretty explicit here, to be honest. And yeah, it's pretty stupid. Just like, yeah, just really fucking incriminating herself.
very close to admitting to a crime.
A woman walks through my door and she makes me uncomfortable.
That's really stupid.
My friend used to pay
But she does have a
$163 for
point.
cars.
If she didn't, like, bring out that point in such a brain-dead way, like, yeah, this could actually have some to it, but
Insurance.
yeah, she's like, yeah, I should have the right to discriminate. For example, look at all these tranny people. What if I couldn't hire them? And it's like, yeah, once you say that, people have a hard time taking them seriously. You can't really blame them. Then Sam Saru's gonna jump on that wagon. Oh, hell yeah, bro, I want some clout, so...
Now look how much he pays.
For any reason at all. It could be any reason.
$38.99.
I'm not going to hire her. Why would I allow this person who makes me uncomfortable watch my children? Well, we should discriminate. Of course I'm going to discriminate. If she looks like a freak, she can't watch my child. It's that simple.
Looks like a freak. All right, so you can infer what she's talking
she's an asshole.
about. She gets right up to the line, and she's batshit crazy enough where I thought she was going to cross it. But when she says, I discriminate when I hire, and then says, well, I'm not going to hire someone who looks like a freak after spending 2 minutes saying how she crosses the street if she sees a trans person, that you can hear what she's trying to say there. And the point is
but she should have the right. If she doesn't want a trans person to watch over her children because, like, she's sort of been ingrained in this she's sort of being brainwashed by this garbage ideology that, like, trans people are actually pedophiles trying to groom your kids. Like, that may be wrong, that may be completely incorrect, and even a harmful rhetoric to spread. It is. Look at the shooting that's happened. I don't even think there was just one. But then, like, if that's what she believes, like, how dare anybody tell her, yeah, like, you think that these people are pedophiles? Well, guess what? We're gonna force you to have one watch over your kid. Like, no, that's fucked. Like, you have to consider people's rights, not just your rights, not just the rights of your feelings. Like, you have to consider people's rights into this, not just people's rights not to be offended.
Is that, like, what Candace is describing happens every second in this country.
Yeah.
Every second in this country.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, and by the way, I think it's a great thing to point out. How many people get sexually assaulted at drag queen events versus in a church? I don't get that. Like, I was so surprised to learn that people get sexually assaulted in churches. Like, you would imagine that'd be the last place people would sexually assault anyone. But yeah, that's disappointing to hear. Like, yeah. Doesn't really warm your heart to think that people do that in there, of all places, the most. But yeah, I wonder what these people think about that. Like, I would like to see these Republicans addressing that point, because it's a point. Like, it's worth some honest things. Like, you can't just yeah, like, I really think Republicans should address that. Like, you can't just keep by it. You can't be no. This is a fair This is a valid point. People get sexually assaulted in church way more than they do at a drag queen event. So this religion that has actually fueled this hatred against trans people, it promotes way more sexual abuse. So, and yeah, I'm pretty sure religion is pretty misogynistic too. I know the Quran is. I don't know about the Bible. It's not like I've read either of them. It's not like who gives a shit? Like, some dumbass back in the day talks about how he rose from, like, yeah, good for you. I already know Santa Claus. I don't need another.
Capital can discriminate against the labor that it hires.
Yeah, it happens every day, and there are laws on the books to prevent that from, like, a corporate level or a larger structural level, so it can't be that explicit.
But against only protected classes of people, though.
Yes, and not right, exactly. Candace Owens, if she
protected classes, I don't think
were to apply for a job, she could not be discriminated against because she was black. And there's a reason that she sued.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
And won that lawsuit about the
wow, what she did?
Racist.
What a fucking degenerate! What a piece of shit! What a complete hypocrite! Yeah, you're gonna talk about like, property rights, individual rights to not hire people if like, their traits don't appeal to you, if that doesn't appeal to you, having someone like, what a piece of shit she must be for that. Yeah, that's absolute hypocrisy. Yeah, you can't make arguments like that. Then when someone is racist, they're an asshole, and it plays out against you. Oh no, you're not gonna go somewhere else. You're gonna be a Karen and say, my feelings were hurt. I demand that my rights be respected more. Yeah, like, go fuck yourself. You have no ideology if you do that type of shit. Yeah, no. Are you in favor of discrimination? On whatever basis the employers feel they should discriminate on? Or are you, like, yeah, that's
it was a slur.
I got the idea. Here's the details. This is from...
So, yeah, here's Candace Owens for you. Absolute degenerate, no logical consistency. But yeah, you want to talk to some of these people who actually are logically consistent, actually have principles, actually abide by them. Go talk to Tucker Carlson.
16.
Go talk to Ben Shapiro. Go talk to people who, I mean, yeah, apparently Ben Shapiro. There's also this thing with he's against student loan debt. Just, and it's like, yeah, that's fair. Like, yeah, if you don't, I remember you put out a tweet that I saw them criticize. Like, here's a tip: if you don't want to own money, don't get in debt, and don't take a debt that you're not gonna be able to pay off. Or like, yeah, don't take debts that you're not gonna be able to pay, and don't ask other people to pay the debts that you fucking have. But yeah, then apparently he had a debt and he filed for bankruptcy. I think that's complete hypocrisy. But other than that, I need to watch Ben Shapiro more. I actually agree with his ideology, like a lot from what I've seen. I've only really seen him in terms of people criticizing him, but I really do agree with what he has to
Let's
say.
see. The News Times from Danbury, Connecticut. Board of Education spent in it. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me skip a little bit ahead here.
I might leave like if I can find that video from Vegan Games about gender neutral pronouns, like I will link it in the description for sure.
Last February, at least one. This is in like 2015. Last February, at least one of 5 teenagers sitting in a car left messages threatening to kill Owens, who is black, and repeatedly used a racial epithet. In one of the 3 messages, one of them referred to her as dirty and threatened to burn her house down and
Okay, buddy. Okay, this sort of sounds like a difference.
The group included Malloy's youngest son, Sam, then 14. The mayor released a statement.
Yeah, so is there a difference between saying, yeah, I'm an asshole, and I don't like you, so we can go our separate ways, I'm not gonna hire you, bye. And saying, hey, I'm actually not gonna let go of you, yeah, I am gonna be the Karen who's gonna be on your tail, and yeah, I'm gonna come to your house, I'm gonna burn it down, yeah, one is passive and one is active.
That's the mayor's son. The mayor released a statement on March saying his son cooperated with police and did not know the alleged ringleader, Evan Kopech, or Owens before the night of the calls. He has declined to comment since then. Kopech, now 18, was a former friend and classmate of Owens. 2 days before the phone incident, they had a shouting match during class. School officials suspended Kopech for that, but would not discipline him and the other boys for an incident committed off school grounds unless the police made arrest, which drew criticism from the state NAACP. Owens left school for 6 weeks, saying it was traumatic to attend with the alleged callers. She returned after Kopech was arrested in late March. Another teen was arrested late spring. School officials would not say
whether they disciplined. I don't know what any of this means. That sounds like
Kopech after the arrest. So, like, somebody who's like very explicitly dealt with racism, including.
Yeah, the difference is this racism act? Is this being enforced onto you? Is it just live and let live? Well, these people are racist, you don't like them, go somewhere else. Yeah, if they're saying they're gonna come burn your house down, yeah, like, you can't just go somewhere else. This is where you live.
From like a mayor's kid, saying that, yeah, like, and you know who she's performing this discrimination for. It's for the right that would, I don't know if they know about her sort of origin story like that.
And for the white people that are watching who want somebody who is of her race to be able to enthusiastically and aggressively say, discriminate, do it. Like, there are already laws on the books that prevent this, laws that have benefited, and I'm glad Candace Owens was able to benefit from that. If she was facing those kinds of threats, she should be able to go to the law.
Those are threats. I'm not gonna hire you because you're black. Is that a threat? Is that a threat? Are you threatening someone? No. Complete straw man. Is that, like, your video that's...
And get that kind of recourse.
All you heard?
Just like there should be laws on the books that prevent that kind of discrimination, because it is always, it happens. People make consumptive choices. People won't go to like a black therapist or a black doctor or whatever.
I don't let black people in my at my lunch counter because I don't trust them. And what, you want me to just allow somebody I don't trust into this place? What if my kid's at this lunch counter that I own? You want me to let them?
Yeah, and that's a great point. People can be stupid, but if they really think that, like, but isn't it the same thing with their business? Can't you also imagine that these business people, they might see their employees as their children, they might have developed some bonds with them, and yeah, some of these employees may be 16 years old at McDonald's day. Like, I remember a lot of the workers were, like, just the age. I could imagine, like, an employer who was transphobic thinking, oh, like, I have, like, so many 16-year-old girls, and there's, like, this, like, 50-year-old man who's painting his nails who wants to come here. This person must be a pedophile. Like, imagine if, like, one of them got raped. Like, I'd feel sort of responsible. Like, that is a, like, bigoted way to see things. That worldview, like, you're not doing the world any favor. Like, yeah, it's spreading hate, and it's gross. You might not realize it, and it's sad, but you should be allowed to do that, and it's reasonable too if you think about it from their point of view. Obviously, like, discriminating isn't reasonable, but like, seeing it from that perspective and reaching the logical conclusion, hey, since, like, I'm sort of convinced that these people have bad intentions just because they're trans, well, it sort of would make sense that I wouldn't hire them if I have this position.
At this lunch counter, I don't trust them, and it doesn't matter. You're gonna make me trust them,
and I'm gonna make my choice as a consumer, not to go to this certain place.
Yeah,
exactly.
It would be really sorry state of affairs if
Wait, so you agreeing
any
with that?
prospective childcare practitioners for Candace Owens that didn't get the job, or any employee she had at the Daily Wire, just felt it incumbent upon themselves to, I don't know,
document this?
Document
yeah, like, if Ben Shapiro wanted to say today, I'm kicking Candace Owens from the Daily Wire because she's a black girl, and I don't like black girls. Okay? Like, you're an asshole, and your Daily Wire is now going to just descend into bankruptcy, and you're gonna, maybe if you're a hypocrite, you're gonna file for bankruptcy, and that's gonna be relieved, and then there'll be one less thing that will be spreading transgender hate. So yeah, like, people would criticize him for it, and he would end up just losing all of his viewers. So yeah, like, should he be allowed to do that? Why not?
those concerns, file a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, just some ideas.
But this is why, like, I mean, this is fundamentally why these people aren't for freedom. Like, they don't want anything like universal health care or decommodified housing to make it so if you aren't able to gain employment or lose a job, you are completely wrecked.
Dude, I'm not gonna go over the whole story with, like, healthcare and stuff. That's a whole different thing. Like, I'm really still on healthcare because I really do think that healthcare should be a human right. But then, like, I also think that eternal life should be a human right. And if healthcare requires people who are rich giving away their money to be able to make this possible, and they don't want to give their money because it's theirs, that is their property. It might be gross, it might be disgusting of them to do that. It's still their property. Like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna finish this video.
They want you to have to depend on a capitalist for those things, and they want the capitalist to be able to determine sort of like how you present yourself.
Okay, well, it's their property.
These are authoritarians.
No, capitalist and authoritarian. Holy shit. This is AIDS. This is just, yeah, if you're a capitalist, you're dude, you know what? You're fucking communist, dude. Okay? There you go. communists.
All right. Reading some IMs,
hell.
then we're going to get out of here. Charlie, she, her says, I'd rather discriminate against conservatism. They cause a lot more social harm and seem much more likely to be creeps and perverts than drag queens are. Rob from Denim, the only reason...
Yeah, like, just like when you might, go to someone's, Twitter bio and see, climate change isn't real, shit like that. If you go to someone's bio and you see this, you might be like, well, this kid is a clown. Just like if conservatives go to someone's Twitter bio and literally see their fucking pronouns written there, they will think this person is a clown. Now, I don't think, for example, social media backgrounds, I believe in privacy. I think you are a piece of shit, and I would not accept any job from anyone who requires a social media check. Yeah, if I went to a job and they told me, yeah, we're gonna have to do a background check on you, what are your social medias? I'd tell them to go fuck themselves, and I would find a different job. But, yeah, I believe in privacy, but still, I think these people should have the right to be dipshits. To be absolute dipshits who don't value your privacy, who... Like, yeah, I don't think it is right to ask for a background check, but you should be allowed to. It's like right to contract. These people, like, yeah, you can choose whether or not you will work for that company. If you don't like them, go work somewhere else. Like, by signing a contract, you are deciding to have whatever happens happen to you. Just so you know that. That's why you never have to sign the contract. Like, if you want to complain about this stuff, think about it before you sign the contract. That's what contracts are for. So that, well, if you want to walk back your claim, oh no, actually I don't want that. Yeah, you do. Look at you. You just said you do. So maybe you should have thought, because you made that decision. If you're being hurt by the system, now they, like, you are hurting yourself. Here are your words. Here's your signature. You asked for this. Okay, here's what you get. And on top of that, you can leave at any point in time. Like, that's what the signature is there for. To assess, yeah, you demanded this. Like, you have, one sick day instead of however many. Yeah, here's your signature. This is what you asked for. So that you can't just go back on your words and be like, oh, actually, I demand 3 sick. No. There was the contract, you signed it. No, you can't do that.
Dave Chappelle didn't also bring Candace Owens on stage is because he's mad she does the Clayton Bigsby act better than him. Oof.
No, I don't know that is.
Demian, I love that all of Candace's villains are imaginary. Yeah, I'm not gonna trust Army Hammer's daycare either. Yeah.
Also.
Alright, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I would look at that. I disagree with it. Obviously, I agree with it more than I would agree with, like, the average transphobic thing. Because, yeah, it's Tucker Carlson. He makes good above-the-table points. Like, he doesn't just peek past people. He actually goes and, like, yeah, he actually brings some interest into the conversation. He doesn't just say bullshit. He makes logical points. Yeah, he's a smart guy, but, yeah, I don't, honestly, if I just keep doing this at this point, like, but, yeah, I don't, honestly, if I just keep doing. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go. There have been 0 anything, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep streaming because fuck yeah, dude. So, hopefully y'all have enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Peace! My hair looks like fucking garbage.